Hi everyone, it's Nicole here today with some felt snowflake ornament gift tags created with Mama Elephant dies. I wanted to take some dies that are not necessarily made to be used with felt. They do not have like the stitching holes or anything like that, and find a way to utilize them with felt. I really have been kind of loving revisiting felt this holiday season, and I wanted a way to create some beautiful gift tags that can be used beyond the gift giving portion of the act of giving the present. I'm a really big fan of being able to reuse elements. So these could be used as ornaments or decor afterwards. Here are the pieces for each. We need a front and back for each tag, a snowflake, and then we're gonna have a little paper gift tag. So here's a finished one. I've done a few off camera, and I'm embellishing them with sequins and seed beads from my stash. These are things we use to make shakers or adorn our cards. So these are the Scalloped Tags Trio, which are a pretty new die collection from Mama Elephant. We're gonna use the square and the circle. The heart is beautiful too. I am kind of excited to maybe do some Valentine's type things with that heart, but I stuck with the circle and the square today. And then the Flurries dies, which have been out for a little while, I've also die cut from felt. I do want to mention I used high quality felt. I am linking to another type of high quality felt because I just couldn't find links to what I had. I used felt from my stash. This is from Tailored Expressions that I'm using here today, but Simon also offers some felt bundles on their website and in their online store. You can get some from Etsy and other places. I would just recommend using a high quality felt that doesn't tear easily because these snowflakes are pretty delicate. I'm using 2 strands of embroidery floss with a beading needle. So this is a teeny tiny needle, thus the use of using only 2 strands of floss. But you want to make sure it's a beading needle so that you can string the seed beads on it. What I'm doing is layering sequins. So I started from the back of my tag, went through my snowflake sequin, went through the red sequin, and then I'm adding a seed bead and then wrapping it around that seed bead and going back down through the holes in the sequins. This is how you sew sequins onto things with seed beads. And I'm simply using that technique to adorn my snowflakes. Starting in the center, that kind of secures the whole thing. And then I'm gonna work my way out. And I tended to add quite a bit of embellishment to most of these. And this is the only way I am securing these felt snowflakes to my felt tag. So there's no other adhesive, there's no glue, there's no hot glue, there's nothing like that. I am simply sewing them down in place. This was very quick and easy. I did all of these in just a very short amount of time, surprisingly enough, but I have a whole little set that I have put into a little project bag that I have next to where I sit and watch like TV or whatever, because my hands are always busy. I have a really hard time just sitting. And so I can make more because this has, as simple as it is, has become like one of my most favorite projects, I think, of the season, surprisingly enough. I am loving being able to take supplies I already owned with dies and building these beautiful tags. Just like everything I have been sharing this season, you've probably heard me say it if you've watched any of my other videos, I have a color theme for gift wrap this year. It's all red, white, gray, black. So everything you're seeing from me is in that color palette because that is how I am wrapping my presents. Please keep in mind, you could die cut these out of anything your heart desires. Maybe you are red, pink, and aqua, another very favorite color combination of mine. Imagine doing all of your tags in those colors. Maybe your purples and blues, so elegant, so pretty. blues and grays and white. I think that would be stunning for snowflakes. So please, you know, whatever color combination floats your boat, you could make very similar tags with. I'm just simply, something I have always really tried to work very hard at is making something not just to make it. I usually have to have something that is useful in some way. So for me, these are all things that will get used because this is the color scheme I have this year. It's not just something that I made that was pretty. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I totally am on board with making things just because they're pretty. For me, I'm always looking for a way to make it useful. And so that's kind of my thought process there. So I simply worked my way all the way around this snowflake, and it is coming up. The only place I layered 2 sequins is the center of each, and that is a snowflake sequin, and the reddish kind of metallic iridescent-y type sequin. That is from a Hero Art Snow and Berry sequin pack. Then I'm taking sparkling clear 4mm cupped sequins from Pretty Pink Posh for anywhere else on the snowflake. And I'm using these shimmer seed beads. You could use whatever color of seed beads you want. If you wanted a little bit more color, try using red. You could use pure white if you wanted to. You could use any color that matches what you're working on. I wanted mine to be kind of shimmery and work really well with the rest of my colors, so that's where I went there. When I get to the end, I'm just tying it off on the back. Part of the reason we need 2 tags per, or 2, a front and back for the tag per tag, is to hide the ugly stitching on the back, plus it's going to give your tag more stability. Now this is where I'm hot gluing. I'm just putting some hot glue all over the one side of the tag, and then I'm going to sandwich them together back to back, and it's going to leave you with a beautifully finished tag that is a lot more stable because it has a lot more material to it. I did not adorn the back of my tag. However, you could create matching front and backs if you wanted to, and that would be lovely as well. So just a couple of different ideas. I'm hoping, throwing out some different things there, that it might inspire you to make this project work for you. And I promise you guys, this is actually a very super fast project. I was so pleasantly surprised. I want to make felt tags for everything because I absolutely love these. Very, very fun. Now this is a little bit simpler snowflake because it's a little bit smaller in scale, but I'm still going to add my sequins throughout. I did really try to adorn the majority of my snowflake with sequins because I think that sparkle is really what makes them shine. And remember, because we are not gluing these snowflakes in place, that the more stitching that you add, the better that it's going to lay nice and flat. Okay, this brings me to my next point. If you are not a stitcher and sewing things on is not for you at all, glue these together. You could very easily, just like I glued the tags back to back, you could glue your snowflake on, and you could glue sequins or jewels onto your snowflake instead of stitching them on. You are going to get a beautiful snowflake that way as well. It's just something a little bit easier. You could also forego sequins altogether and simply take a needle and thread and maybe just stitch your snowflake on. Just add some stitching lines. You could also stitch your tags together instead of hot gluing them if you wanted to. Now these little mini tags are from a stamp set that's been out for a while, that's been one of my favorites from Mama Elephant. It's called the Mini Tags Dies, all die cut from some Chili Pepper Lawn Fawn cardstock, stamped with a mini messages greeting. You could do anything on these. Find a tag that fits. I stamped my sentiments with a clear embossing ink, sprinkled on white embossing powder, and then heat set that. I am purposely not spending a ton of time or energy on these tags. I just wanted something kind of nice and pretty because All I need it for is to write the to and from, just a little spot to do that. You could use a bigger tag if you wanted to as well. Anything will work here, but that my thinking is the recipient can then cut this tag off or tear it off, whatever they want to do, and they are left with their beautiful felt ornament that could be used after the gift giving is done. So again, this was very quick and easy. We are then going to thread this little mini to from tag onto the felt embellished tag with some really pretty sparkly baker's twine. This is some Lawn Fawn twine I've had for a couple years now. It's beautiful. I absolutely love it. I think I'm down to my last roll of it, and I wish I had more. So I'm just going to thread these together, knot them, make sure and trim up those ends so it's really nice. And then I'm going to give you a look at all 5 tags I created. I want to say real quick, the Flurries dies, the snowflake dies I used, have 6 snowflakes. And there was one design I didn't use, and that's just because I didn't think the design would translate very well with sequins. And so I only did these 5 tags, but I have actually die cut a bunch more than what I've shown here because, as I mentioned, I'm going to spend my TV time stitching these because I love them and I think they'll be really, really fun. We will finish this up and then you can see all 5 tags finished up. And these felt snowflake stitched and embellished tags are all finished. Thank you so much for joining me today for this felt tag project featuring Mama Elephant dies. The supplies I used to create these tags are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos featuring Mama Elephant stamps and dies that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.